The Brave and the Bold, Batman and Wonder Woman #3. Liam Sharp, of course, doing the both the art and the script. So, how did you feel about this? Batman wakes up in Tir na Nog, and he's confused at first, but then he realizes, oh yeah, you pulled me here, and I'm here to solve a murder.
I love the stuff with the fairies in the pool, and he's like, "Whoever's over your female," like. I thought that was funny.
I really like Bruce being so confused and kind of being out of it. It's different. We don't see it very often.
Yeah.
And I like his reasoning too, because deep down he's always looking for the rational, and the reasonable.
Yeah, because
even when he's dealing with magic, and he kind of says he knows that it's magic, it defies logic, but he still needs to base his thought process.
Yeah, because what he says is when Wonder Woman takes him out and they go questioning some people and stuff, he's like, I have to understand the rules of this place before I can actually be a detective. So he's trying to understand things, and he remembers this thing he used to hear from this old nanny he had about you can see through the magic if you've got a stone that's got like a natural hole in it. So because I did like the line where he says there's a difference between invisibility and stealth. He's like, I knew you were there the whole time, because
you just couldn't see him. I like that.
That was a nice touch. I have to admit though, I wasn't super hot in this issue.
No, there's a lot of fill in the gaps.
There was a lot of talking that wasn't super exciting.
Yeah,
it's the catch Batman up to speed issue.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I was kind of zoning out through a lot of the explanations.
Yeah, so I wasn't like I agree that it wasn't as good as the previous two, but I can tell that Sharp really loves Irish mythology, and is a fan of mythology. Even if I'm just learning all this new stuff, it's there. And I can appreciate that.
I love Batman going through his deductive processing.
Yep.
Like all that stuff is fantastic.
With him realizing that everything's it's a play. Like they're stuck there forever with each other, because we find out that Tir na Nog has a border. Like Themyscira, it's this weird paradox where there's no limits to it. Like the island just goes forever, and it's
Blair Witch Project. If you keep walking in one direction, you'll come back the other side.
But it's to keep them there. It's like it would be cruel to keep the Amazons there, like on a prison, right? Because it's not their prison. Versus here, Tir na Nog almost feels like a prison, and what's keeping the two sides there? And they do magic on themselves. You find out from Kiernanos that we do this. This happens every couple cycles where. We fight, we make up, and then we forget, and we fight again.
Yeah, and it's just we've been forgetting so long. We don't even know why we're here anymore. Like, they don't know if they were sent here as a punishment, or if they brought themselves here to lock them away for the safety of the world. All that stuff. The cycle of mythology. Is
because
really
everyone loved the king that died. It was the king of the Fomorians, King Aleta, and it doesn't make any sense who would kill him, because again. They do these fights, but no one's ever really died from them before.
Yeah. Like, they say they keep doing these raids on the villages, but no one's dying. It's just the king. It's all like I say, it's all a show.
Right, and I like Batman piecing that together, and Kiernanos, however you pronounce it. He's like, oh yeah, and then they bring up Balor, who's the big evil demon, the all-seeing eye of Irish mythology, and. They kind of tease him at the end. He's sitting on this throne. Kind of reminded me of the Iron Islands in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, okay, I can see it.
Which funnily enough, George R. R. Martin based off of Ireland itself. So just the fact that they all go into each other, and he's sitting there. So you think that because Kiernanos brings up that they've even kind of forgotten what the original monsters look like. That Fionn McCool had fought, and here's that hint that I think that Balor's coming. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think so, because like he said, Ken says to them, it's like, hey, it's all just oral tradition at this point, which again plays into the idea of especially Irish mythology, which is mostly oral, and the idea that none of them actually really remember it. It's just these stories and legends and how they've been kind of blown out of proportion. And so it'll be really interesting when we get to Balor, like, okay, what can he actually do? How much of it was exaggerated, or what have they forgotten?
The two sides, it's the Fomorians and the Dodonnan.
Yeah.
And they're at war with each other. and it's just.
It's very much the crux of the Celtic mythology is the balance between them.
Yeah,
I have to admit, I appreciate your enthusiasm for this, but I was kind of just asleep throughout most of this issue.
That's fine.
It's basically like you even compared it to Game of Thrones at one point. There's something I also don't like. A lot of this Celtic mythology is getting into magic-y stuff, and I just don't like
to be
magic
fair,
that
I don't
much.
think it's mostly not Game of Thrones. It's just the visual design at the end.
That's what I need. Yeah.
Oh, sure. But even my other point, though, is that it's feeling really magic-y, and I don't think that this feels like someone who's really into this stuff, really putting all these references in, putting these names in. I don't think it's actually making it palpable for someone who knows nothing about any of this stuff.
Yeah, I'll agree there. I'm the type of person that once I come across this, I want to know all about it. Like
for me, it's the opposite. For me, when it comes to this type of subject, you have to actively make me engaged in it, and it's not really doing that on its own. It's just kind of throwing it at me, and as a result, I'm kind of zoning out and not really taking a lot of it in. So, honestly, I think I'm just not even going to read the next 3. I think I'm just going to leave you guys to cover this, because
that's fine.
It's just a taste thing. I'm just not into it. And even at the end, when it cut to that last page and we see Balor sitting in his throne, I didn't feel like we built up to that. I felt like it just, here's a tease for the villain.
Well, I mean, no, but he was referenced a couple of times during the issue. They talked about him.
Oh, during the issue, but I just mean the scene before. I didn't really feel like we were building up to anything.
And then they also talk about they also talk about the two the two gods, Danu and was it
Morrigan.
Morgan, yeah. And so I'm sure they'll show up at some point too. So I can appreciate that Sharp's doing this, and it's a passion project for him.
It sounds like something. If you're into this stuff, it sounds like you enjoy it. I feel like the more it's get into it, the more I'm feeling alienated that it's not actually making it palpable for me in any way. It's just not introducing the concepts in neat ways that actually slowly build upon it. It's just thrown me into the deep end, and I'm just not taking anything from it.
To be fair, I think the first 2 issues were the deep end. This issue where Batman's here and we're walking through it, this is the issue where it kind of builds these things up and say, okay, these are the rules. Like you say, okay, times passes differently here. There's a hard border. These are, okay, it's like a play. Like you say, all these things are being established in this issue.
And if I wasn't falling asleep at them describing it, maybe that'd be cool. But I just don't think he's not as good at writing the dialogue as he is drawing the pictures. Is basically what I'm saying.
This issue, I make the corkboard meme, where I see a new name and I have to go and research it so I know. This is why it fits in, and not everybody's going to do that.
I was rereading.
So I understand where Pete's coming from.
I was rereading Bubbles because I would get to the bottom of the page and realize that I've taken no information in the entire page, and I had to go back and read it again. It was making me just want to sleep, and it was. I found this such a chore to get through this time that I think I'm just out. But you guys you guys can cover the rest of it.
I'm enjoying it. I think me and Matt are very much feel that mythology. We're interested. It doesn't matter which mythology. It's just, the concepts, the structure.
For me, it does. For
well for us.
When you start getting into fairies and you start getting into gods and stuff, I'm less interested in that. And it's because this is the thing. I don't really care about gods at all. But when Rucka was doing his stuff in Wonder Woman, it was presenting it to me in a way that was appealing.
It's all context.
It was,
I'm also bringing my love for the Norse mythology into this because the two sides remind me of the Acer and Vanir. Even down to the way they're designed. So
I think it's how you dish the information out. I think there's just a way to draw someone into the story, and just the way Sharp's doing it's not doing it for me at all.
Fair enough.
The art's nice, of course, but
yeah.
Art's great. It goes without saying, and